Hey, you guys, what's going on? You can't answer me because it's a one-way conversation. But still glad you decided to hang out with me. Today, I'm hopping in the truck this morning. It's about 9:30. I'm heading to Top Shop Auto in Lafayette. They're the folks that, they're friends. They do all the work on the 80 if you guys are in the San Francisco Bay Area, which I am, out in East Bay. They do great work. They work on overland rigs. They've got some great builds, so we'll get to talk to those guys. And what we're doing is, after the video, a couple of videos ago, when we took the rig on Slick Rock Trail, we hammered the dog you-know-what out of it. We're going to lift it up on a rack. We're going to look underneath. We're going to see what's busted. And we'll also talk about things you might do for your vehicle to protect the underside, the sensitive mechanical parts that are under there when you guys go off-grid and off-trail. So let's load up and we'll roll out. Oh, the mask today, we got crazy fires here in California. This isn't for the COVID, this is for the damn ash in the sky. Maybe you can see some of the ash. Anyway, bad fires out here. All right, let's get down to business. Hit the road and we'll go say hi to our friends at Top Shop Auto.
So we're starting like where we were when we were in the front.
Yeah, I'm going to do a better intro for you though, Frank. Are we rolling, Mike? We're rolling whenever you're ready. All right, right on. Now I'm going to be straight up with you guys. Here, we're going to look at the 80 here in just a second. Frank's being a real sport. This is the second time we shot this video because the first time I didn't turn the camera on. Hey, it happens. Hey, if you guys are new to the channel, maybe you haven't seen some of the other videos with Top Shop Auto and Frank. You guys have been taking care of the 80.
6 years? Six years now.
Something like that. And so I'll come here before I go on a big long trip to say, hey, what do I need to take care of? And then as in this case,
You've been out. And I watched, he sent me the video, I think, before everybody else got it. And I got to see him rack up a few rocks on the truck. So we don't really know what's under there, but we're going to find out.
So now we're gonna lift it up, and we're gonna take a look at the damage I did. And then the other thing is, while we go through it, you're gonna talk kind of in a 101 form, like 101 basics. What are some of the things that you want to protect on your own rig?
Right. So there's different places on your rig that are more fragile than other places. And now I used to belong to the Dablo four-wheelers back in the 90s. I'm an old guy. But it was all about tire placement and placement of the critical points that you have underneath your truck. So we used to go on these poker runs back in the day.
Yep.
In a poker run, they used to set up these little mini cones all over a kind of a rocky, normally a upgrade and a downgrade and maybe a couple obstacles. Not real hard stuff, but the trick was you won the poker run if you didn't knock over any cones.
Right.
So you had to drive through all these cones and not flatten one or knock one over in your rig. And so it's all about tire placement. It's all about knowing where the critical points that you have clearance on or don't have clearance on in your truck. So.
Yep, right on. And keeping the sensitive bits off the rocks.
Right, off the rocks, and try not to take any rocks home.
Yep.
You know?
Well, what do you think?
I think we should probably pull it in and put it up.
All right, let's take a look underneath the 80. We'll get it up on the rack.
So Mike, how much does this rig weigh? 65, yeah. It's real important we rack it right, otherwise you're wearing it. This is your wheel hang, so this is as low as your wheels will ever get. So we always do this whenever we're looking at if your suspension can handle all your brake lines and all your vents and everything can handle this kind of a drop.
Right.
And is anything hitting, you know, as your driveline angles go out?
Are your brake lines acting as limit straps?
Yeah. Okay, Mike, so here on the front of the rig, I don't see a whole lot of damage. I don't know how much of this is old. I know it's been through a lot. This you've hit many, many times, looks like. But that's what your bumper's for. This says ARB for a reason. Yep. It protects all of your fragile gadgets back here, like your radiator and your grill. I think we talked about the steering. This is your steering cooler under here. And right above that is your transmission cooler. And then your radiator. So all of those things are tucked up in there and safe behind this bumper. So that's a good deal. Looks like you didn't hit anything there. The Land Cruiser is built really, really well in the front. This front straight axle has enclosed axle hubs on both sides, and really hard to break these things. Independent front suspension would probably have CV axles on both sides here.
Yeah.
In which case you got to keep rocks and debris away from that. Yours, that's tucked in far enough, it'll never hit anything. I could see that you were sliding on your front control arms quite a bit down here. And they're made for that. So that's how you're supposed to use them. And so you did good rock placement on that.
They take I know they take the full weight of the vehicle.
Oh yeah.
All
so
the
that's
time.
That's where you want to put them. And then your axle tube is a good place to hit rocks as well. Don't want to hit it too hard. So that kind of that soft touch sort of thing, you know? Now the heart of this beast is right there in the middle. So right here in the middle is the oil pan. And if you can see on this rig, Toyota's put it all the way up. It's almost like it's your heart and your rib cage. It's protected by the steering and the axle and the springs, shocks, and these lower control arms. All of this stuff is making it so you can't hit your pan. It would be really hard to hit this pan. You would have to have high centered on quite the rock. And then there's some repairs you can do out on the trail. Because if you do break down on the trail and you break something pretty big, you're going to be bringing your tools and stuff to the truck.
Yeah.
You aren't going to be calling for a tow truck or AAA because they're not going to show up. But let's say you knock one of these axles off or something, or you break a tie rod or something in the steering, or you could, in extreme circumstances, break a spring. You know, stuff like that happens. So I don't see that you did any real severe damage here in the front at all.
I see, like you said, I see where I hit the control arms. I see this small area of the pumpkin where I scuffed
the differential pumpkin.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed a little farther back, I guess we'll get to it, is it looks like on the sway bar bushing.
Yep. You landed on that.
I hammered that a little bit, but we'll go take a look a little further back.
So rock placement on this truck, you're going to be wanting to put it. The pumpkins are on this side. And all your drive lines are lined up and your pumpkins are lined up on this side. So you're kind of putting rocks right down almost under the driver's seat, or a little bit to the center of the driver's seat. So what you want to do is you want to get under your rig, lay under your rig. There's crazy people that have cameras under their rig while they're driving. But you want to notice what's under there, where it is, how low everything is, and how you can go over some of these obstacles and rocks. Well, let's go to the side. I think on this side, Michael did a little damage. I'm going to put on my mask here.
Right.
Okay, Mike, so coming down on this side, now people ask me about, do I really need sliders?
Yeah.
So Mike, did you really need sliders this trip at Slick Rock?
I don't know if I would have driven back.
No.
Right? I mean,
I think without these, you can see the marks down here on the sliders. And this is a true slider, so it is mounted on the frame. It's welded. It is built. It can handle the full weight of the truck. So this bar right here can handle this whole truck, all 6,500 pounds.
Yep.
Right here. So the only damage that Michael got was he bent in this mirror. It probably, unfortunately, did take out the door because I can see a pretty good bend in it up here. He bent the mirror in.
Right, mirror.
Which, you said something's going on with your window?
I can't close my window.
Can't close the window.
Yeah.
So you can't close the window, but you know what? That's not going to keep him from driving out of the forest. So can't close your window. If it rains, you're going to get wet. You know.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're doing okay. If these sliders weren't here, you would have taken out this door, the A-pillar, the back door, probably all the way to the back of the truck.
Lost the fender.
Both these fenders would be gone.
Yep.
So, you know, you could have lost your Overland Bound badge, which would have been horrible.
Right. Would have been terrible. Well, the horsepower rating would have gone down immediately.
I know, yeah.
You know, and there's a couple on that video. There's a one shot. It's kind of subtle, but those who know can tell, where the full weight of the vehicle, it does a hop. It bounces twice.
You made it.
It really shows you the incline and the weight of this vehicle, just on these sliders, it just the full weight of the vehicle.
Boom,
boom, boom. Before it came to a rest.
And when you were navigating that last rock around the corner, it was, I think, about a 1/4 inch from your truck.
Yep. You got it.
Going up on the driver, you're coming around, you're pivoting perfectly, you're on the rock I just threw down. Looks great. That was beautiful. Okay.
So that's, you know.
Yep. So yeah, sliders.
Sliders are very important. They make cheap ones that bolt together kind of like a Lego set. Don't buy them.
Yeah.
They just end up on the trail somewhere and other people have to run them over.
Yeah.
So.
And steps are not sliders.
Steps are not sliders.
Steps are not sliders.
Steps just get torn off the truck.
Yep. All right.
I see you have a bottle opener too. That's a very important tool on the truck here.
Yeah. I always know where that is.
Okay, so I think let's put up and see what you hit underneath.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, Mike, so we were talking about the fragile bits under here.
Yeah.
So we talked about the oil pan. We got a tranny pan here, and we got a front drive line.
Yep.
Now, the tranny pan is going to ruin your day. Maybe you could do that on the road, try and fix that. Not something you want to do out in the field.
Yeah.
Transfer case is right behind it. Transfer case is something you don't want to hit, really.
Right.
Transfer case will take out your whole drivetrain and you won't go anywhere. You lose a this front drive shaft, you can still run off the back drive shaft. If you lose a back drive shaft, you can still run off the front drive shaft. So drive shafts aren't that bad. You do still need to be carrying a toolkit. If it's a foreign vehicle, you want a metric toolkit. If it's an American vehicle, you're going to want both, American and a foreign metric system, because they use both. Chevy and Ford and Jeep all use a bunch of different sizes. So so you really best to stay away from these drive shafts. Now they do line up with your differential pumpkins. So this is a Toyota. If you can see that it's offset on the back. Yeah. Now on Chevys they're not offset like that.
And on Land Rover, aren't they?
On Land Rover they're
opposite.
They're on both sides.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of clearance. They have more clearance than you do.
Yeah.
So they get away with a little bit more. And Michael tucked up his exhaust here quite a bit. So he'd been taking out his muffler many times, and we went with this smaller chamber muffler, which gave him a little bit louder tone, but I see you went on slick rock and you didn't hit it once.
Well, I'm going to say, so as you mentioned, the trade-off with the smaller diameter muffler is that you are a little bit louder, and it now has a unique sound to it. Totally worth it, because like you said, with the original large diameter muffler, I was constantly taking it out. It was getting stuck on rocks, and that, like you said, didn't even get a scratch. So it totally worth it.
So the other parts that are really fragile under here are brake lines and all your vent lines for your differentials.
Yep.
Now brake lines, when you break a brake line, it's kind of game over.
Yeah.
If you break a front one, you'll still have rear brakes. If you break a rear one, you'll still have other brakes, unless you have a very old vehicle which only has one system. But you can probably get home. But if you break something like this, a drive line, one brake line, your trip changes at that point. It's now, let's get out of the forest.
Right.
Let's get past obstacles and go home the safest way we can.
Yep.
So you have to change your plans, reorganize, and you have to think about safety of the people, the crew that's with you, the other rigs, stuff like that.
Okay, you broke a drive line, and if you don't think that problem through, you might think, oh, I'm done. Well, no, you're not. Take it off.
Yep.
And use that front drive line.
Use the front one and drive out.
Yep.
Correct.
And then likewise with emergency repair, you sometimes have to do things, even though it's not the best standard, like puncturing a sidewall, right? You're going to repair a sidewall puncture if it's going to get you home, even though it's not typically recommended. You need to do whatever you need to do to get home safely.
No, I've seen people split tires in half and stuff them full of grass and their sleeping bag and coats and whatever else they can put in there just to drive out.
Yep.
So it just takes what it takes.
Yeah. Okay, now you mentioned we got a solid axle.
Right.
But independent front suspension, or let's just take some kind of vehicle where maybe that oil pan is a little bit more exposed.
Oh yeah.
So what do you do in that case? What are your options there?
If it's not a straight axle, I would start looking into rock guards.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know of any vehicle that is sold stock that has adequate rock guards for the slick rock. Anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So
no way.
So there's people that have rock guards just for the front differential, like for the Fords.
Yep.
And then there's people that have a sheet that goes all the way back. I kind of recommend small rock guards that you can take on and off in case you have to do a repair. You aren't enclosed, and you can't, some of them you can't see the whole bottom of the truck.
Right.
And that's a little overkill. If you notice, Michael doesn't carry a spare tire. There's a reason for that. On the bottom, he carries it on the top. If you get stuck, you can get the spare tire off the back of the rig. You can't get it out from underneath. And I can't tell you how many people have gotten stuck on their spare tire. The rubber just grabs the rock, and that's it. They're stuck.
Kind of like what they're designed to do.
Yeah.
They do exactly that.
They just get stuck.
Yeah. That is the worst place in the world for a spare tire.
It is. I agree.
I mean, underneath the rig.
Yeah. It's great for the street, believe me.
Yeah.
When you have nice pavement, you can roll it down and it's right there, and you pull it out from under it. It's great. But when you're in the mud, if you're in 2 feet of mud and your spare tire's under there.
Well, that didn't last long.
Yeah.
You're not getting the tire out.
Right.
So the other place you don't want to hit is this big thing back here, which is a gas tank. So I did hit that once off-road, and I left a trail all the way back to civilization as quickly as I could. Right. And when we got to the gas station, we filled it up, and then we all chewed chewing gum, stuffed it over the hole so we could get back farther.
Right.
But that's a game changer. You've got, how much extra gas do you carry?
Well, I've got 10 gallons.
10 gallons.
Yeah.
And this holds, what,
25.
Like 20, 25?
25.
Okay, so if this is leaking, let's say it's leaking 3 gallons an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
You only have so much time
to
to do what you're going to do. Now, this particular rig has steel reinforced cover on the bottom, and then a steel tank. Most tanks, modern day tanks, are plastic, but they also, normally off-road trucks have a steel encasement as well. Yeah. Know where your gas tank is. Know, if you high center a rock, know that you're headed for that.
Yep.
Because that's something you're not going to recover from.
So. I do scuff that on a fairly regular basis.
No, I see. I can see I can see a few marks on it.
Like you were saying, tire placement.
You're right here.
Yep. This is where first of all, I want to straddle. I don't want to straddle rocks. I want to drive over the top of rocks because I don't like rocks coming underneath the rig.
You're right.
But on this side, I got the drive line.
Yep.
Right? And so if I have to go over a rock, it comes right through here under the driver's seat, and that's where the gas tank is. So I do scuff it, but thankfully I've got that steel, like you were mentioning, the steel reinforcement. But you got to be careful.
Now I think as far as we can see that you hit the pumpkin pretty hard back there.
Yep.
Under the lift, you can see where, when I was putting you on the lift, I can see where you hit all 4 points of your lower control arms. So your trailing arms in the back. So now we are thinking of doing some suspension work to this rig. So when we get to that point, we will address that. And it's not damage that can't be fixed. When we put the new suspension in, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So all in all, I think you did really, really well.
Yeah, I've brought it back to you in much worse condition.
Oh yeah. There's nothing hanging off.
Yeah.
So
all right. Should we go look at the very tail end of it?
Yeah, let's go look at the back.
All right.
Hey, Michael, so we're here in the back.
All right. Hey, I just want to say again, you guys made that recommendation for me to change the diameter of the muffler.
Yeah.
I think probably because you were tired of replacing it. That was so worth it. I mean, it's just a really good thing.
I think it really cleaned up the underside and kept it out of your way. Now in the back here, there's not too much going on.
Yeah.
Your approach angle is pretty big on this.
Yeah.
If you kind of take a ruler and you go from the tire to here, that's your angle. So I saw this come down on a lot of rocks.
Right there, hard passenger, slow.
Yeah.
But again, that's what this bumper's made for.
This is, I don't know, that's 3/16.
It is 3/16. The only thing that I would maybe recommend is if we put some sort of a ramp here, so if you do get a rock stuck in here, you can get it back off of it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe weld a little lip here.
Because this is just an edge.
It is just an edge.
Yeah.
And I had aluminum bumpers on one of my rigs.
Yeah.
And I caught a rock right here, and what do you think aluminum does? I left it there. I didn't have a rear bumper anymore.
Yeah.
So in the back end,
it's heavy, but I do like that
the
it's
protection
stout.
is huge.
It's very stout.
Plus, everything is bolted on here. You've got everything you need. You've got your high lift jack. Always keep your hooks on because you don't want to be looking for them when you need them.
Yep.
If you're on the road, you can have them off if they just clank the whole time, but keep them on. And then he's got his fuel, his spare tire. He's got his ramps to get over rocks. He's got his high lift jack. All this stuff is easily accessible from the back because you're normally going forward into stuff. So if it's in the back, you can walk around the back of the rig and get it. So there's a few fragile things. Parking brake, brake lines again. Stuff you don't want to mess with. But
it looks like
fairly well protected.
So it is. I've also got diff breather lines that are on both the front diff and the rear diff.
Right.
Those run up. They have to have plenty of length in order to not, snap.
Well, you've done a few stream crossings.
Yep.
Where we've brought it back in, and even with all the vent lines, we've had to drain out water. So.
And when you get to that point, you guys have drained it. Like to get the water out, it's like you have to run 3 or 4 times, to get it all.
We actually fill it, drive it, fill it, drive it, back and forth. So I've seen a lot of lift kits that aren't extending the brake lines or the vent lines and everything, and that's a real problem. Some people just throw the lift on and they're gone.
Yep.
You always want to have it dangling like this and make sure you've got plenty, plenty of room. This is his brake line right here, and all right here. This is your parking brake.
Parking brake.
And then your other brake lines are right here and right here. He's got a bunch of hoses on here from airbags. Those are just extra. Anyway.
Well, we're not going to need those airbags because we're going to put a better suspension on it.
I think we're going to, next step is some suspension. So.
What do you guys think? Dobson, King, or Fox?
Right. Those are the top 3.
Let me know.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
So, people say King is the best. Dobson has a more complete kit.
Yeah, comes with everything.
Fox is Fox. You can't really say anything about Fox because they've been around forever.
And such a wide variety of stuff. Yeah.
They make everything. I have it on my mountain bike.
Well,
Frank, but all in all, I think you did really, really well.
Frank, looking at this, I expected a lot worse. There's some bushings that are out of whack on the front sway bar.
Yeah.
That I mentioned.
Not unusable,
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that's going to keep me from going out there on the trail again.
And the sway bar is just for the street, really. It's not for off-road. So I mean, it's something that's going to keep you from going.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
All in all, for taking this big of a rig out on slick rock, I think you did really well.
Yep.
So.
All right. Hey, what are my options for the front fender? I know you guys. I know. I'm going to get the comment, dude. Just lose those. Just lose those.
Lose them all together. Right.
Just lose them. You don't need them. Yeah, I hear you. There's an argument there.
There is. There's an argument. There is here in California. I don't know about the rest of the states, but here in California, I have been pulled over for not having flares. They gotta at least be as far as the tire.
Yep. And I am poking out a little bit.
A little tiny bit.
Yep. Hey, you guys, if you happen to be in the Bay Area, check out Top Shop Auto. They're right here in Lafayette. They work on this rig. You guys have some pretty darn cool projects. We do a lot of stuff with
FJ40s. Yeah. I think I probably have about 25 customers with FJ40s as well. So we keep a lot on the road.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael.